Hi you guys, it's Lauren. Welcome to Safe Space with Sapphire, and today we're going to be breaking down the difference between discernment and isolation. So come have a seat with me and come listen and get your mind wrapped around what's next. It's Sapphire. The core ideas of today is that not everybody who pulls back is unhealthy, and not everybody who pulls back is healed either. And so today we're going to highlight the difference so that you can understand that when moving out of levels of discernment, it's a system, but moving out of levels of fear leads to isolation. And a lot of people think that they're doing one and they're doing the other, and we're going to decipher between the two so that you can start to unpack and unwind and question what it is that you're doing and which one is what you need to be doing and how you can fix it, and ways in which you can pivot from isolation to using your discernment to separate you from others that are not healthy. Now, it's very easy to cut everybody off and say, oh, I'm done with everybody, but the questioning and reasoning as to why, the question of why is important to both, because it reflects on why you're operating the way in which you're operating, not for who or what reasonings are causing it. Discernment is the ability to know who and what aligns with you and how to choose it carefully. So when it comes to discernment, it comes with a level of peace, selectiveness, and level of awareness that comes with a certain amount of peace internally. And a lot of people feel like everything happens from trial by error. I don't really fully know how to decide how discernment becomes a full thing, but I can tell you that life lessons and understanding levels of people and interacting with people get you to understand fully what is happening a lot of the times without needing to see the end. A lot of people, when you start to have heavy discernment, you don't need to see the end of something happening to already know how this is going to pan out. Whether it be this behavior is something that's repetitive from the person or repetitive from somebody else, it's knowing. Isolation is, I don't trust anyone, so I avoid everyone behavior. It's very reactive, it's fear-based, it's avoidant, and it comes from a level of hurt, right? And what people don't realize is that when your brain is operating in that mind state, it actually makes the ability to focus or finish through with things in which you're tasked with a lot harder, right? And so the whole point of having discernment and moving out of isolation is to save yourself on energy, to save yourself on mental peace and clarity, because a lot of people are going to operate, and people are creatures of habit. So I feel like discernment is built through repetition of like actual interactions. If you don't interact with people, you're not actually helping yourself. You're hindering yourself from being able to identify what is normal versus abnormal behaviors in others. And when it comes to like, especially like even coworkers, you start to build a repetition of like, okay, this behavior is normal amongst this group of people. And then you can also tell when something abnormal is going on or a strange behavior. And that's the part where like discernment kicks in for you to move accordingly. A lot of people stay in places that end up hurt more than they intended because they're not listening to their internal selves and trusting their internal selves when something weird is happening, like something weird is happening, or something that, and with your inability to have connections with people, it skews the way in which you think and your perception of the world. So discernment is saying not everyone gets access, while isolation is saying no one gets access. And we as humans are communal creatures. Like, we live for communication. We thrive in societies as a group. And I feel like a lot of people think, like, the only way I'm going to get something done, or the only way that I'm going to complete something is by myself, all alone, da-da-da. But even then, on that journey, you meet people that are there to help guide you to change and transfer the way in which you think, feel, or act. And that's necessary. And, you know, God will send you the right people for you when it's time. And behaviors of isolation is avoiding people who haven't done anything to you, assuming anyone and everyone has bad intentions. You feel drained before you interact with anyone. You cut people off instead of communicating. And you feel lonely, but still push everyone away. And, like, it's normal sometimes to say, like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person anymore. I'm not saying that every person that you have an interaction with that did you wrong or something like that you need to communicate with, because closure isn't real. But I am saying that simple misunderstandings, misalignments, things that are, like, just traditional when it comes to the sense of communicating as a human. And this is the thing. So, like, if it's simple interactions of misunderstanding, those things that you can come back from, you should be able to communicate with people about and converse with people about to get over it and not let it affect your whole dynamic and relationship with them. Now, if it seems to be something sinister behind it and you caught them in the act of doing so, definitely communicating with everyone is not necessary. Now, the sad part about this is that, yes, isolation protects you from pain, but it also blocks your ability to make other connections, because you could have one simple misunderstanding with someone and now you're taking it in as, oh, this person is really trying to come for me. They're always trying to do something. So now you're living in a state of paranoia, which drains the shit out of you, because it's always like, oh my God, this person is doing this, this person is doing that. When you have, like, levels of discernment, which is why I'm saying, like, it's sort of like a muscle of built repetition, you can walk into a room and begin to read a room and look at people, look at the interactions, look at certain ways in which people gauge things, and say to yourself, okay, this behavior aligns with this pattern, because humans are creatures of pattern. And you just start deciding how much time and space certain individuals get with you based on that. Now, when it comes to levels of discernment, it's different operations of thinking. When it comes to operating from a level of discernment, it comes with observing before you engage with people. Like I said, you're able to walk into a room, look around, see how people are interacting and treating others around them. You can see how the room is moving towards or away from certain people. You don't rush intimacy, because levels of closeness is, like, very, very, very much, I don't want to say secrecy, but it's very, very much left to those who are deserving of it. You can't be open. You can be open, but you don't want to be exposed, which means you don't want to be over telling your business. Not everyone should know everything about you. They shouldn't know where you work. They shouldn't know who you operate and interact with on a regular basis. And you choose based on patterns of how people are and what you are accepting of, not emotion. Not, oh my God, this person's really funny. And you're able to do it based on patterns, not emotions. So you can have a funny coworker that is very funny to interact with, but the kind of person that this coworker is someone that will run around the office telling your business at the drop of a dime. The discernment in you should say, oh, this person is funny. But the pattern recognition in you is that, hey, if this is how this person is talking to me and they just met me and telling me everybody's business from A to Z, this is the pattern of who their character is and what they will do also to me. No one is like safe from a certain level of engagement, right? And because of that, and because you know that and you're aware of that and you are aware, hey, this is this person's character, you don't become emotionally attached to who they are or what they do. You don't become attached to who they are or what they do, but you look at it as, is this going to be beneficial to who I am becoming? What kinds of dramas or issues will this cause in the future? And you move accordingly. And because of that, you will begin to walk away from people with a lack of resentment. Like, resentment is emotionally fueled. If I just met you, I've come to terms that, hey, this is you. You like to be a certain level of messy. There's nothing else that anybody in the world can do to stop you from being like this. This is your actual innate character. I'm not mad about that. The only thing that I can be mad about is how my information is getting to you if it's not coming from me, which means discerning between, hey, who in my circle is going to run their mouth, or B, like, the fact of like, hey, I know not to interact with you, so I know how to operate with you. And when you know how to operate with people, it becomes less of a draining of like, oh my God, I can't trust anyone, to being like, okay, this innate behavior is this character of this person that they've established. Like, they're comfortable with constantly being in this state of being, right? Or state of like thinking or emotional state. And you move accordingly. You say, hey, you know what? I don't want to interact with this kind of behavior. And you get up and you leave them people alone. And because you're able to do that with like no needing of falling out, no emotional pulls of like, you need to change and this is bad, da, 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 and you start to change who you are interactively, it just becomes very, very easy to navigate living life on a certain complex of like, I don't have to talk. And this is the thing. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will question the growth of you, right? So when you start to move from a level of discernment, like, you could be friends with somebody, right, for years, and then you start to realize, like, this is the character of who they are. They're not changing. They're not benefiting where I'm trying to be. I can't trust them with certain levels of, like, conversations because this is their actual character. They'll start to say things like, you're so distant. Oh, you've changed. Oh, you act different now, because you'll be able to move accordingly without emotions. So it's like, you'll be able to talk to the person occasionally or at a tolerable rate, but you'll also know what to talk about and what not to talk about. Because, and this is the thing, the people who are overly emotional about your change are people who are benefiting from your lack of boundaries. So like, if you wake up tomorrow and you decide, hey, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I don't want this in my life. I'm not entertaining this. They'll be offended. They'll be offended. And then that's when you start questioning all around, like, why am I actually interacting with this person? What is the highlight of my life by interacting with this person? What is it doing to change me as an individual? What patterns am I like recognizing? And I promise you, like, you'll start to open your eyes to a lot of stuff by just being able to step back and evaluate who they are as an individual. Not emotionally, but who they are. And a lot of these interactions are to protect you, like, from weird encounters. Like, And when we're talking about using levels of discernment, it also means yourself and what you allow to be put out into the universe. Your coworkers, anyone in a professional setting, should not know your personal business. They should not know beyond the regular, hey, this is my name, this is what we do at this job. I don't care how much a job says, hey, we are a family dynamic, da-da-da-da. You are not a family dynamic when it comes to levels of profession, any form of career-wise. People should not know more about you than necessary, okay? And doing so helps you avoid a lot of turmoil. Now, why do I say that as well? And with you being able to decipher certain patterns with less emotional attachment to it, it makes it easier for you to navigate spaces and not be draining, not, oh, I can't trust everybody, this, that, to the next. You learn who and what to trust with. And doing so, it also helps build your character. So when you start interacting with people based off of selection of actual patterns and interactions and less emotional, it also helps shape the way in which your character is, because when you're isolated, a lot of times you're cold, you're standoffish, and etc. When you're open, like, hey, I'm open to meeting everyone, but I am very, very selective as to who gets into what space of my life, it sets a tone. And people will talk about your character way longer than you can imagine, because the reality is, the thing is, reputation is built off of other people discussing you, not yourself. Like, you can't determine what your reputation is because you are in control of how other people perceive you. But the way in which you can control the dynamics is by what you allow to happen and what you allow yourself to feed into. And when it comes to levels of moving and operating with place of pattern recognition instead of emotionally saying, hey, something's wrong and this, that, to the next, and being less emotionally engaged, a lot of the times people will start to become less emotionally engaged when they're talking about you character-wise as well. So if people have a regular general interaction with you, they can't be like, oh, I hated how she interacted with me, or he or she interacted with me, because there's no emotion to it for it to be an emotional statement or a status placed on you. And when you're isolated and cold, that's what people are gonna refer to, like, oh, this person is kind of standoffish, this person is kind of this, da-da-da-da. Whole time, it's like, am I really those things, or am I trying to protect myself? That's the part of isolation that is hard to decipher. It projects outward even when you're trying to keep a lot more things in. And so, like I was saying, you will then start to know, hey, that, like, certain conversations, certain things should not be happening around just certain people or just in general. Because once you start recognizing this is the behavior of the person, believe it. And that's why you shouldn't be so happy-dory with your coworkers. And when you start to become serious about limiting how you interact with people around you, whether it be going to networking events or you're meeting people in these bigger spaces, you need to start, checking in with yourselves. Start with, am I protecting my peace or am I avoiding discomfort? Then, do I feel calm or do I feel guarded? If you feel in your chest area when you're talking to someone not okay at all, listen to that internal instinct that something isn't right. Okay, and then the last part is, am I choosing people or am I rejecting everyone? A lot of us go into situations, there's a group of people out there that will go into situations like, oh, I'm probably going to go in here not fucking with none of these people at the end of this. And if you're thinking like that, And if your mindset automatically is that, oh, there's going to be problems when I get in here, or this, that, to the next, you are already operating out of a place of isolation. If you are not willing to be uncomfortable, you're operating at a place of isolation. And I'm saying that in the sense of like discomfort and failure means effort to try again, and the ability to try again can result in success. So in order for you to learn and actually genuinely build knowledge or acquire things means being in discomforting situations, in the sense of not knowing and being willing to perceive and take it in. Not embarrassment discomfort, but knowledgeable discomfort. And if your mindset automatically is that, oh, there's going to be problems when I get in here, or this, that, to the next, you are already operating out of a place of isolation. If you are not willing to be uncomfortable, you're operating at a place of isolation. And I'm saying that in the sense of like discomfort and failure means effort to try again, and the ability to try again can result in success. So in order for you to learn and actually genuinely build knowledge or acquire things means being in discomforting situations, in the sense of not knowing and being willing to perceive and take it in. Not embarrassment discomfort, but knowledgeable discomfort. And when you start to be able to navigate and answer those questions accordingly, and you feel like, hey, this is actually beneficial to me, and you're able to place the difference between being able to use discernment and being isolated, you'll learn that if you're too open, you'll get drained. Okay, you'll get drained by the people around you, too much access, too much of anything. If you're too closed, you'll miss connections. Now, missing connections is not the end goal, because you need these connections in order to amplify who you are, whether it be networking or moving on up in a job placement or etc. The whole point of all of this when it comes to using discernment over isolation is regulated access. Boundaries help navigate the way in which people interact with you and how your life is going to go while interacting with them. And as you become more able to sustain levels of conversations and interactions that are healthy for you, you'll learn that pulling back doesn't mean shutting down. Doesn't mean shutting down. And you'll also realize that you finally learned how to choose, right? It doesn't mean shutting down everything, but you've learned how to choose and where to place people, how to place them, how to interact with them, and that it's better to not be isolated, but to be intentional. So, yeah. I hope today that you guys are enjoying and understanding what it is that I'm saying to you, because and that being intentional is beneficial to your life in all aspects, whether it be where you're trying to go with your career, where you're trying to go with your family dynamics, and who you are becoming, because you have control over the things in which people access from you and take from you by what you allow yourself to communicate about and how you communicate. So I hope today's safe space conversation on the difference between discernment and isolation is helpful to you when navigating your next conversation. The next episodes will domino effect into what we're talking about from here to help build what is coming next for you on this journey of becoming healthy and healed in a happy forum. I hope to see you guys at the next episode. Please like, subscribe, and share. Share. I'm trying to build a better and stronger community. And I hope you guys are enjoying the lessons and takeaways, and you're having a safe, fun week, and know that you are loved, you are blessed, you are beautiful. And it's Lauren. Ha!
Shout out Young Slim. Turn me up a little bit. Hold you tight, yeah. Not staying stagnant, I'm passing through. On a straight road of riches, I'm talking latitude. I ain't dealing with friendships that's not compatible. Walking through my transitions with lots of gratitude. Blood just make us related, don't mean you loyal to me. I was taught to hold my crown up cause it's royal to me. Money, family, and self-respect is important. Even though I had a lot of drive, I couldn't afford a Bentley. Middle fingers to the oppositions. It's just me versus myself, there ain't no competition. Make some money from this pain that's in my composition. I'm just hoping that my life won't be a contradiction. I'm really hoping that my life won't be that. I just hope they get the picture like a selfie. Conversations with myself, I must remain forever wealthy. When I was on the come up, grounded to the sun up, did you help me? I just never bought the dreams these imitators try to sell me. I'm good. I just hope I make it out before I'm dead and gone. Gotta read between the lines, guess I read it wrong. No umbrellas for the rain, we've been through hella storms. And tell them niggas that be hating they look better gone. I just hope I make it out before I'm dead and gone. Gotta read between the lines, guess I read it wrong. No umbrellas for the rain, we've been through hella storms. And tell them niggas that be hating they look better gone.